Guys, I would just like to make sure that you know to go and check out Brainbuster Radio every single day. There is a new show from 8 different podcasts on Brainbuster Radio. It has everything you need to know with wrestling today, from WWE to New Japan to AEW to the Indies. Everything is covered on Brainbuster Radio. That is 8 different shows across 7 days: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have you covered. Please just type in Brainbuster Radio on your favorite podcasting listening device and you'll find Brainbuster Radio. What's up, everyone? What's up? Welcome to the Josh Robinson Show. Of course, I'm your host, Josh. It's been a minute since we've done The Josh Robinson Show. I had to unfortunately take last week off due to some technical issues going on with the show, and I was like, instead of punching myself in the face over and over again to try and make this right, let's just redo this thing and redo it right and just say goodbye for the week. But we're back. It's Tuesday, so you're listening to me talk here on the Josh Robinson Show. I know the last episode that I did of the Josh Robinson Show was a little bit darker, was a little bit shorter, was a little bit left of field, was a little bit different. But I'm back. It's regular scheduled programming. And we're here. I'm in the mood for a nice little chat with y'all and just kind of just chill out. And, oh, my chair is very squeaky. I don't know if you can hear that, but if you hear that, it is just my chair being all squeaky, being a little bitch, as it normally is. But yeah, it is a lovely... I'm recording this on a Monday evening, and it's been wild-ass weather the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It feels like forever that it just constantly just keeps raining. We've had a very wet winter here where I live, just around about an hour away from Adelaide in Australia. It's just been a very wet, crazy winter, and just... it is what it is. I like winter. I'm a winter person. I like the cold. I like to wear jumpers and sweaters and jackets and long pants and whatever it may be. But, I mean, I'm a little bit over this rain. I'm a little bit over this wind. I'm just done with the weather as it seems. But, hey, I ain't Mother Nature. I can't change shit. I can't do anything like that. I guess, before you know it, I'll be on here complaining about summer. Because I hate the heat. I hate any kind of... I hate it. I just hate it. And probably, as the world knows, Australia can get fairly hot. It is a very warm place in the summertime, in the springtime. It does heat up fairly fast. Again, I ain't Mother Nature. I can't change that shit, so it is what it is. But yes, we're back after... we're back. I say we're. Me. I'm back after a week off of the Josh Robinson Show, which I don't like to do, and I don't do very often. I don't really take weeks off really ever. Wrestling Reverb, as you know, is every Friday, and there's not really, since, officially going to Fridays with Brainbuster Radio, I've obviously never missed a week. I haven't really taken any time off of podcasting since December. So it's not going to become a habit. It just was what it was last week. Now, before we get into today's show, I do have a cool little show planned for y'all, but before we get into today's show, I do want to take a second just to say thank you for the love and stuff for the last episode of the Josh Robinson Show about gun control and gun laws. I know it's a little bit different to hear that side of me and just my views on things, but it is nice to know, hey, like, I can talk about this. This is a platform that I have to talk about this kind of stuff, and as we continue to move on, there's going to be a few episodes in there about different kinds of things that it's not always, happiness and sunshine and rainbows with me. It is, sometimes you gotta get to talk about the stuff that's a little bit like, let's not talk about that. It's like, no, I'm gonna talk about it because whatever. Now, I apologize for the sound of my voice at the moment. If you can hear, I'm a little, congested. I don't know if I'm getting sick. I don't know if I am sick or if it's that cold that I've just got this weird congestion going on, but I apologize if I sound a little bit, nasally. More so than I normally am, because I know that I have kind of that voice, but I'm that bitch, I'm that bitch with that. Sounds like there's a peg on my nose kind of deal at the moment, but whatever, is what it is. I'm going to do this show a little bit differently today. I'm going to start off this show before we get into the topic that I have with some recommendations for the week, because I haven't had them in a couple of weeks. Now, if you are new to the Josh Robinson Show and you don't know what my recommendations I'm recommending are, I'll give a TV show or a movie, I'll give a song, and I'll give a podcast that I want you guys to check out, or at least what I'm checking out in this particular time. Doesn't necessarily mean it's one of my favorites or it's whatever. It's just what I'm feeling in this moment and what comes out of my mouth. Now, first off, I'm going to start with, I've never recommended a movie. I always do TV shows because I'm not a movie buff. I'm more of I'll sit down and binge a TV series than watch a movie. But I watched a movie last night on Netflix. It's called Wine Country. It has Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph, among others. A lot of the SNL ladies, Tina Fey's in it, stuff like that. Now, it wasn't like the greatest movie I've ever watched. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it was like amazing. But I got a laugh out of it. It was just lighthearted. It was just a bunch of ladies drinking wine for an hour and a half. So really can't hate that. So go and check out Wine Country if you have Netflix. It's all over Netflix. You've probably heard about it. It's fairly new. It only come out like a month or 2, 3 months ago, something like that. I'm not usually one to keep up with latest releases of movies. Like, I've never watched any of the Avengers movies. I've never really watched any of those, like, Marvel movies. I'm just not with it. The only ones that I keep up with is Star Wars and, like, Pixar. It's the only things that I'll watch. But this movie in particular was funny. Go and check it out. For an album or song this week now, well, I say album or song. I've never recommended an album, but I've always recommended specific songs. This week I'm recommending an album. Now, the words that are about to come out of my mouth are probably like, ugh, really, you're recommending this person? You know what? I have no shame when it comes to music, and it is what it is, I guess. So, I mean, this is the one I'm going to recommend for y'all today, is that, I'm getting distracted at the moment. My cat is sitting maybe 3 or 4 feet away from me, sitting on the lounge in front of me, or the couch, whatever you want to call it, and she's decided just to lick her butt right in front of me and staring directly into my eyes, doing some weird aerobics positions here, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Man, cats are weird. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Yes, never recommended an album. Now, the words that are about to come out of my mouth, that's where I was going with. I don't care about perception of what people should and shouldn't listen to, and what's good, what's perceived as bad or good. I don't give a fuck. I like what I like. Music is music. Music is fun, and that's what it should be about, is that if you hear something and it sounds good to you, by all means, go for it, enjoy it, love it, listen the shit out of it, sing along, dance, do whatever you want to do to it. So I'm recommending Taylor Swift's 1989 album from 2014. That album is fucking great. I don't care who knows it. Don't at me for it. That album of Taylor Swift's is very good. I'm not like the biggest Taylor Swift nerd in the world. I'm not like the biggest Taylor Swift fan in the world. However, that album is very good. I rediscovered it the last couple of days, and I'm like, I remember listening to this album. And this album is damn good. So I'm preaching it to all y'all. Taylor Swift, 1989. 2014, so we're 5 years old. That album is really freaking good. Easily her best work. Good on you, Taylor Swift. Good on you. As for a podcast this week, going a little bit left of field with this one as well. It's still in the vein of what I normally listen to, which is, wrestling-orientated podcasts. However, it's not an independent podcast. It's not one of my many loved, supportive people on Twitter. It's Regular Girls, which is not really a wrestling podcast, but has a wrestling personality in Renee Young on it. Renee Young and her friend Stacey McGonigal, they go out and just talk about life and talk about just all different things that a regular girl would talk about, I guess you would say. It's very girl-centric, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, Regular Girls, the title, 2 ladies on the thing, but I like hearing that perspective of life. I love listening to things that don't necessarily resonate with me personally, but get a different perspective on life, to be like, this is how this person views their life. And I just love Renee Young. I think she's hilarious. I think she's very personable. I just think she's a really cool chick. There would be one of those people, Renee and Stacey, both on Regular Girls. They're just 2 people that I'd really like to just hang out with. They just seem like cool girls that you just want to be like, I want to have a drink with y'all and just talk and just have a laugh. You just have a laugh with those girls. So Regular Girls, something I'm checking out. Look at that. 3 female-centric podcasts music and movies, television, whatever. 3 female-centric, women-empowered. Go, you know what? You go, girls. Women empowerment is very important to me. I consider myself very much that person in that vein of just like, I'm very all for equality across the board of everything, and I just really believe in that kind of stuff. I don't know how you want to perceive that, but that's just how I am as a person. Anyway, let's get into this week's episode of The Josh Robinson Show with today's topic. Alrighty, guys. So I'm here. It's been like a minute since we've done this. You probably heard in the intro, but my God, it's been technical dramas with this episode. This is the 3rd time I'm trying to sit down and record this episode. It's finally, everything seems to be going right, knock on wood. Seems to be going right. We're going to get through with this. So a couple of weeks ago on Twitter now, it's a couple of weeks at this point, I asked for you guys to give me some Australian-based questions for an Aussie Q&A that I have lined up for the Josh Robinson Show this week. You're hearing this on a Tuesday, or whenever you're listening to this, whatever time you're listening to this. You're hearing this when it's first originally intended is a Tuesday. So the Josh Robinson Show, a little Q&A from an Australian-based Q&A. Now, listen, I'm not going to step around this at all. I'm a very proud Australian. I really make it known that I'm from this country because I love where I live and I'm very proud of this country. It's a great nation to be a part of. And I guess in wrestling Twitter world, or just Twitter world in general, there's not a lot of us. Well, there is, of course, there's lots of Australians on Twitter, not getting that wrong. Just in the wrestling Twitter world, independent content creator wise, there isn't a lot of Aussies doing this, and I just am very proud to be from this country. And it's just, I'll get into why in a minute because there's some questions that kind of relate to that. But Australia is, as corny as it sounds, is my home, and I just love this great country. Of course, it has flaws like any country in the world does, but I'm just very proud to be from this country, and I just love this country. So, of course, I'm going to parade that, and of course, I'm going to talk about the fact. And it's very obvious that I am from this country. People, being in podcasting now for over a year, people pick up on my accent. I didn't think I had a very thick accent, but I apparently do, so people know that I'm from the land down under. So, hey, is what it is. I ain't ashamed, I ain't mad about it, but yeah, I guess I just have a thick accent. So, I asked you guys, who are predominantly not from here, there is, of course, the few that are, but not from here. I asked you guys for some Aussie-based questions, and I'm like, wonder if these guys will have anything for me to talk about on this episode of the Josh Robinson Show, and y'all have some stuff. So, let's go through some questions. We're just going to start at the top and work our way down. So, at Get Yo Wrestling Podcast. I've talked about Get Yo Wrestling Podcast so many times. 4 wonderful dudes. Funny stuff. Go check them out on Twitter at Get Yo Podcast. They said, how many times have Americans said to you, in quotation marks, that's not a knife, when you're just standing there minding your own business? I feel like bothering people is what Americans do best. So I'm assuming, now, going through this, I'm assuming what you're referring to is 110% the fact that the knifey, spoony Tabasco with all that kind of stuff, I've never personally heard it other than on Twitter. I've never had it happen to me. It's never been a thing that I've really thought about. To answer your question, I guess 0, other than the times that Mags and stuff have said it to me on Twitter. But yeah, it's never been a thing that I'm like, thought about and stuff like that. So sorry to give you a shitty answer, but I guess 0 would be the answer. Headlock Talk, at Headlock Talk, Brainbuster family member. As a follow-up, what does put another shrimp on the barbie mean to you? Bitch! Let's untangle this. I have said many times, as every Australian ever who's ever had a conversation with anyone else in the world, and they've said that person from the other country has said, put another shrimp on the barbie. Put another shrimp on the barbie, mate. Fuck off. No, for one, they're not called shrimp. Here, they're called prawns. So we're putting prawns on the barbie. I don't personally eat seafood at all. I don't eat anything that swims. It's not my forte, but I don't think many people cook prawns on the barbecue, to be completely honest. But I could honestly be talking out of my ass of that, because I just don't eat seafood. But to answer your question, Headlock Talk, put another shrimp on the barbie, what does it mean to you? It mean to me, it just infuriates me. Piss off with that, everyone. We don't call them shrimp, they're prawns. If you really want to, just say put another prawn on the barbie. But any other way, you can fuck off, okay? Piss the fuck off. Alrighty, Headlock Talk have another question. It says, what is it about Australia that makes you proud that you have lived there your whole life? What would you change and why? Okay, so I kind of alluded to the fact that I'm a very proud Australian. I love this country. I love being a part of this country. We are a very proud nation. One thing I'll say about Australians is Australians love to tell you that they're from Australia. You know, with me, if you've listened to me this whole time or just any episode, I'll proudly state that I'm from Australia. And I don't know what exactly it is that makes me proud to be Australian. I guess we are literally down under, we're underneath the whole world. We're literally at the bottom of the world where, you know, we are kind of, in a weird way, we're isolated from the rest of the world and we're kind of tucked away and just kind of, we're here, but we're also not here, if anyone understands what that means. But I think we just like to make our voices known. Like, hey, we're here too. We provide a lot for the world. Well, I think we do. I think we provide in different ways, whether it's entertainment or just general economically or whatever it may be. I do think we add value to the world. I think we are a good country, and I think we have aligned ourselves with other great countries that have kind of been like, yes, you know, we are a big part of the world. I do think Australia kind of gets forgotten about in some ways, so I guess that makes it even, you know, more be like, hey, no, we're here and we're doing some awesome stuff down here. So I guess that would be why I'm proud to be Australian. I don't really know. When you say to me, what makes you proud to live there your whole life, it's like, I've never lived anywhere else. So how do I really know what anywhere else is like? I just know here, and I'm proud of that. I don't know. What would I change? We don't get any of all of our, I've said this many times on podcasts, is that all of our entertainment, well, not all of it, but majority of our entertainment stuff is not from this country. It's from the States or it's from the UK. So we're getting a lot of our entertainment from other parts of the world, and we don't get the chance to experience that very often. If you just look at wrestling and you're a WWE fan, you don't really get a lot of WWE action in a year. You get it one time a year. And they don't go everywhere in the country. They go to, you know, especially when I live in Adelaide, they go pretty far away from me in the country. So I guess that would be the thing I'd change. Is I wish that we could have more entertainment stuff that was a worldwide success from this country, so we could experience it like everyone else does. I guess, if that makes any sense at all. But thank you for your question, Headlock Talk. Who we got next? I'm not answering all of these. I'm just kind of skimming through because I don't want to like stick on the same subject for too long. At Illustrious G40, Matt G, great dude. So, best Australian beer food that we should try on a visit down under. So, I don't personally drink beer. I'm not a beer guy. It ain't Foster's, that's, I'll tell you for one. There was a little argument on here, on my Twitter question to our Aussie Lucian Ben, lovely dude. You know, Foster's isn't a thing that Australians like. It's marketed to other places in the world as something we drink all the time, but I've never had a Foster's because I've just been told it tastes like literal urine. So I don't want to, you know, really subject myself to drinking piss. Literal piss, so I'm good. I'm not a big beer dude. I'm a cider guy. I drink a lot of pear cider, apple cider, stuff like that. A lot of people don't, I mean, not a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of people that like cider. There's a lot of people that don't like cider, just like with beer. So, I'm a cider guy, so I would drink a Somersby pear cider. I believe they're Australian. Could be fucking wrong, but Somersby pear cider is my go-to alcoholic beverage. Food, I'm gonna go a little bit left of field here. I'm not saying that this is my favourite. It's not something I do on the regular. However, if you're coming to Australia, I would not put it past you to try kangaroo, because kangaroo is not that bad. It gives you a lot of gas. You'd be farting for days after you eat kangaroo, but it's a great It tastes good. It's a little chewy, so don't get too mixed up with anything here. But kangaroo is actually quite nice. I don't want to sound too Australian by saying that, but kangaroo is quite the meal. So kangaroo. Alrighty, what else do we got here? Hey, Get Show Wrestling Podcaster back. They have another question. It says, is there really a hatred between Aussies and Kiwis like the show Flight of the Conchords says there is? Flight of the Conchords is a fantastic show. And yes, to answer your question, there is. It's like America and Canada. That's how I would kind of put it. Is that America and Canada are like, yeah, rawr, you know, it's like a sibling kind of deal. We don't actually hate New Zealand. We don't want them to, we just, it's like a sibling. It's like, you love them to bits, but also fuck right off. That's how I feel about New Zealand, and I'm sure that's how New Zealand feels about Australia. We love each other though, but we are like neighbors. We're siblings. We're like, in a lot of we have a very similar flag. If you don't know, we have a very, 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 very similar flag. I think there's just a few different, number of stars on the flag or something like that. I don't fucking know the logistics of it. We just have a similar looking flag. In some ways, we talk very similar, but I don't hear it. But other, nationalities do hear that we talk similar. I don't. They say seven. I say seven. So that's how fish and chips. I don't say fish and chips. I say fish and chips, not fish and chips. So, that's just my perspective on it all. But yes, I guess yes and no to answer your question, but hey, whatever. Queen of any, lovely lady, fellow Brainbuster member. What's the single best thing about being an Aussie? I kind of answered it already. It's just, I love this country. Blah, blah, blah. You want to hear my answer. You've already kind of heard it. Dits on wrestling. I know Dits. Dits is a great lad. How often do people ask if you're British? We get asked if we're Aussies all the time, and I know it happens vice versa with you guys. I don't think I've ever been mistaken for a Brit. I don't personally think, I know it's a thing, don't get me wrong. I know that there's many times where, people have thought someone's British and it turns out to be Australian or vice versa. If anyone that doesn't know Dits, if anyone's living under a rock, Dits is from the UK. He's from Plymouth, I want to say. Yeah. Why am I questioning myself? I know he's from there. Yeah. Anyway, because he's from the same place as Luke. Anywho, I should just give you his home address, everyone. Just put it right out there. Just choom. I don't know his home address, by the way. Anyway, back to the question. I've personally never experienced it, but I know that it's a thing. But, hey, if anyone's ever thought when they first listened to me, let me know on Twitter, @JoshRobinson00. Did you ever think I was British? Let's go there. I don't think I have a very British-sounding accent, but who knows? Maybe someone thinks it. Aussie Lucian, Ben, lovely dude, mentioned him before. He said, can you sing the national anthem on the show? Now, the national anthem in Australia is, it's interesting. You hear a lot of, national anthems or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they're called in other, just the country's song for anyone that doesn't know. He said, can you sing the national anthem? Now, I can. Will I? You're fucking right, I'm not gonna sing it. Well, I'll do my best here. I mean, I'm not the greatest singer in the world, obviously, but I'll sing the first verse and the first chorus. For anyone that doesn't like my singing, tune away now. And for anyone that doesn't know this song, it's a real banger. You should really get on to Advance Australia Fair. That's what it's called. It's a lovely national anthem. The last time that so I'm looking at the lyrics right now and they're kind of flashing back to me because I don't know them off by heart. I used to know this song word for word, obviously, through school. You'd get up at assemblies and stuff like that on a Monday morning, Friday afternoon. You would get up and you would all rise for the Australian national anthem. So I'm going to ask everyone to rise for the Australian national anthem as we hear Advance Australia Fair. Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are young and free. With gold and soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land's about in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair. That's the first verse and the chorus. Of course, there's music that goes with it, but I ain't fucking paying for any royalties for that shit, so Advance Australia Fair. Lovely song. I used to know the second verse. It's sitting there right now, but I ain't freaking singing it. That's Advance Australia Fair. Good luck listening through that. For anyone that's listening through their earphones, I'm very sorry. But hey, I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the people. I hope you all rose for that and really listened to that beautiful rendition of Advance Australia Fair. I'm sorry, Australians listening right now. I just butchered the hell out of the national anthem, but hey, proud Aussie. Am I right? Am I right? That's all the questions that I have for this portion of the Josh Robinson Show. So I'm going to sign off on this portion of this show. Thank you for listening to this section. We'll have some more stuff in just a second. Alrighty guys, so you just heard the Q&A portion of this all-Australian The Josh Robinson Show. I just wanted to kind of, before we kind of sign off, this is the kind of new vibe I'm going with The Josh Robinson Show. I don't want an incredibly long show. That's Reverb. Reverb is long. We can talk about wrestling and really dive into some other stuff. This show, it's kind of a little bit more fast-paced. It's good for a nice little drive, or just like working around in the house, or whatever you need to do, just for 30 minutes or so, just to kind of hear just me bullshit for half an hour. That's the kind of vibe I want to go for the show. You watch me next week have a 2-hour-long show, and just go with it for whatever reason. But I'm actually here to just kind of, before we sign off, I kind of mentioned when I started the Josh Robinson Show, moving from diving into the Josh Robinson Show, I wanted to bring some people that you may have never heard of on wrestling Twitter, and introduce you to kind of my life as well as everything. So I'm going to start having some people on here that you have no idea who they are. They're just local people that I know that I'm going to try and con into coming on this show and being like, hey, just want to talk for half an hour or so about some of your life and stuff like that, and getting to know the people that I kind of talk to on a daily basis and stuff like that, because that's what I kind of want from here, is to kind of let you in on the other part of my life that I really haven't exposed to you guys, and that's exciting. So that's what I'm going to kind of leave you on, a little bit of a teaser. So in the next few weeks, you might notice that some other voices come on this show, kind of talk to some other people who have really cool stories, and just kind of letting people know, hey, I'm here and I'm ready to do all this kind of stuff. But anyway, please rate this podcast 5 stars on iTunes. It helps me so much. It lets people know that people are listening to this and stuff like that. Share it, quote RT it, let people know that you're listening to this show, because that's the only way, is through exposing through other ears to get it to other ears, is to go, hey, I'm listening to this show, this is what I thought about it. Chime in at Josh Robinson 00 on Twitter, at Josh Robinson Host on Instagram, Josh Robinson 00 on pretty much anything else. Make sure you check out my Twitch and my YouTube. I have a lot of cool stuff happening on there. But until next Tuesday, I will see you next time on the Josh Robinson Show. Peace out.